How's it going, YouTube? JBTheKid00 here, coming at you guys with a regionals report from Cardiff Regionals, which just happened, well, it's probably yesterday now that I'm actually uploading this. Forgive any background ramblings. I've got Cupcakey and a friend are playing card games in the background, so I also have cats, apparently. Either way, for this regionals I ended up playing Mermail Atlantean. It's the first regionals I ended up taking the deck to, and ultimately the deck performed okay. I ended up going X2-1 in the end, losing out in the final round to my good friend Joe. Uzumaki Kuno 1, who I'm going to give a big shout out to because it's his first regional top as far as I'm aware. And his channel will be in the description below. So congratulations to him. But I went X2-1, which just put me out of contention and then plunged me way down into 20th. I worked out that if I'd actually won that game I would have come 7th or 8th, but well, I managed to have Cupcakey trade me in one of the mats anyway, so that was what I went down for, because I've already got my invite. So congratulations to my boy Joe, who will now be accompanying us to Euros. Either way, as I said, I played Mermail Atlantean. My matchups I will talk about after the deck list, because I want the deck list to kind of remind me how my matchups were, because it's really late. I've kind of half forgotten all of them, but it was a pretty good day. Some of my losses, I really wasn't happy with. I ended up getting virused for my first loss in Game 3. I flipped my virus. He had no targets in hand for the virus. And against Mermail, he had nothing in hand that virus would have hit. And then he went Reborn, my Catastor, virus off that Catastor, and hit 5 cards out of my hand. So that was not fun. But some of the losses happened like that. And the draw was in time after I'd won the first game. But either way, let's get into the list. To start off with, we have one Mooling Glacier. I saw this quite frequently. I didn't see as much as I wanted, and sometimes I drew it really dead, kind of late game, when I was trying to grind game out. So, I don't know, Mooling was good, but at the same time sometimes it was quite unreliable. 3 copies of Mermail Abyss Megalo. My one big regret of this deck was, I guess, not playing lead, because in the mirror match, the lack of the lead put me in some quite awkward positions, but it was what it was. The Megalos were good. I definitely wouldn't cut them. A lot of the time I found myself wishing I was playing more of them, but that's Megalos. Sometimes I drew him dead. I know my loss against Joe in the final round was because I drew the Megalo with nothing to. I opened a hand of Megalo and 1 target and never saw the other water. So, well. Then I played the triple Abyss Lind. I drew this far too often. I did not enjoy drawing this, but again, no real complaints about the Lind. And I suppose a friend of mine, James, BLS Riding Vanilla, is going to want credit for this. I played 3 copies of Abyss Pike. Before going into the event, he recommended that I bump a few things like Abyss Pike and Heavy Infantry to 3, and it tested quite nicely, and then he will insist that I net decked him, but I just literally bumped up a few cards on his request, so it wasn't a net deck, James. It was just some changes.
Don't even build decks. You just can't.
Don't be nice, be nice. The 3 pikes were interesting. I found myself signing out one quite a bit, but in the game 1 it was really quite handy to have. But I often sided one out against certain matchups that I didn't feel it was going to be that good against, so it was what it was. The 3 pike wasn't bad. I kind of felt like one of them should have been a Turge. There were a couple of times when a Turge would have been better, but oh well. For the Atlanteans, 3 Dragoons, standard, 3 Marksmen as standard, and then 3 Heavy Infantry to round off our Atlantean engine. The 3 Heavy Infantry were actually really good. They came in so handy today. I was devoing these out knowing that I would still have 2 left in deck, and they just put in so much work, and in a grind game I managed to win game 1 in a Mermail Mirror round 4, because I topped into a salvage, got 2 Divas back to hand, and I had 1 of these and 1 Marksman engrave, and I was able to go Librarian, Armory Arm and do 3-4 over an opponent's lead, and put him in such a bad position he couldn't come back from it, and that was the best top deck I think I've ever experienced, making Armory Arm off as Armory Arm Librarian off of 1 salvage. Then speaking of the Divas, I played 3 copies of Diva. Diva, in my opinion, was the best card in this deck, the best single card in this deck. It defies all the kind of anti-cards your opponent can put down. It gets around Soul Drain and Fissure and things like that, and just puts in so much work. Really love the triple Diva. Then the triple Undyne. I found myself siding one of these out quite a lot. Opening at game 1 is really nice, but I didn't kind of find myself needing it as much games 2 and 3, so I sided one out quite a lot because I felt I could get it with the Pike. Then double Controller, because you've got to. I drew these way too often, but it is what it is. I opened one of these at least maybe 1 in every 3 games, so. And the final monster was Trag, because I ended up having to cut 1 Trag to make room for these extra expansions. The main deck is actually 43 cards, and I believe it is 25 or 28 monsters. For the spells, we play 1 Reborn, 1 Dark Hole, 1 Storm, 1 Allure of Darkness, which I sided out literally every game on James's recommendation, and it was good. Like there were no times when I wish I had it, so I just rushed it out of the deck. 1 Avarice. I top decked this for the win more times than I care to admit. So sorry, Reese. Double MST. I kind of wish I was playing the 3rd in main, but the 2 was there. The 2 was good. And then rounding off the spells, I played the triple salvage. 3 salvage again. It never clogged. I guess occasionally drawing it on the first turn was kind of awful, but like mid and late game, the fact that I had 3 of these in deck available for top decking was incredible. So really, really liked the triple salvage. Then for the traps, I played the 3 copies of Abysphere. Abysphere was kind of lackluster today, maybe because I think like everyone had the MST for it or the bottomless, but I don't know. Like normally Sphere is like the boss card for me, but just today Sphere just did not put in as much work as I wanted it to, so that was Sphere. And then for the last 2 traps, I played double Torrential. No Mirror Force in the main, because Mirror Force hadn't been kind of serving me well recently. So that is the main deck. For the extra deck, I played the Gauze token for no reason whatsoever. The Armory Arm, which won me a game with Librarian, so yay, Armory Arm. Librarian and Catastor, I made these 2 so much. Librarian and Armory Arm I made a lot. I was considering cutting them before the event, and then I realised how good it was, and just put them in, and then I won loads of games with Librarian and Armory Arm, so I was really happy with that. And Catastor put in so much work, it was so good. Except for when I got a Reborn and Virus against me, because Nick's a douche. I played 1 Dularan. I got so many mad pluses off this card. I beat Joe game 2, the Machina Gadget player game 2 in the final round, without seeing any Atlanteans, simply because of the amount of pluses I was able to garner off of like summoning 2 Diva, Infantry, Diva, Marksman, and then bouncing the whole thing to hand. So, it made this thing huge. So this was so good. Gungnir, I made this quite a lot. That card was so good. It won me another grind game against an opponent where I had to push Big Eye to win the game, and I had Reborn, Diva, Marksman. So I was just committed to the board, made the Big Eye, and managed to win the game from there. I was so pleased that I managed to win out from that. Blood Scrap Dragon, I never made this. No, I never went into that. And Mistworm, never went into that. That's the Synchros. For the Exceeders, I went into Gachi once against an opponent, a Dark World opponent in time. When I was 500 points down, I literally got Virused, detached the Dragoons from my Abyss Dweller, and managed to search a Diva. And I literally had the Diva, and everything else got Virused in time. And I went, turn 1 of time, Diva, Gachi, go. And for the next 3 turns, the only monster he was able to keep on the board was Grapha. I had no background, no nothing to stop him. The only monster he was able to get on the board was Grapha, and he did not manage to get over this, and it won me a game in time that I should not have won. He was +5 on me because he got a massive Virus play, and the Gachi won me the game against Dark Worlds. So the Gachi was so good. MVP of the day for that match alone. I had no business winning, but I don't care. Then I played 1 Zen Mains. I never made this. 1 Leviathan Dragon. I made this in a grind when I had to get opponents' back row off the board to try and push. I ended up like summoning an Undyne using its effect, and then like ditching a Marksman to kill 1 back row, and then reborning the Marksman and making this, detaching the Marksman to kill the other back row, and then committing Megalo. So this was good. This was really good. One of his trite. I made the Bahamut Shark trite play twice, I believe. I mean, it was good-ish. Sometimes it was a bit lackluster. I guess the room might have been better spent elsewhere, but oh well. Bahamut Shark, again, with the trite. Bahamut Shark was pretty good. I managed to get it off with Dragoons more than anything else, which was really good. So the ability to ditch the Dragoons and then have a trite as well. Just pluses, pluses, pluses. Then 1 Abyss Dweller. This was really good through the day, so no complaints with Dweller. Then 1 Big Eye. So good. Stealing things. And then Gaios. I made Gaios a couple of times, but I mean, it wasn't as good as it has been in the past, so it's alright. It's alright. Then for the side deck, I played the other Tragodia as an extra virus target and an out to OTK decks. So I had a feeling there were going to be a lot of kind of cheap OTK decks and a lot of Samurai decks there. So I thought the Tragodia would give me a way to get around those. And it said, as I said, an extra virus target. So in the Mermail Mirror and things like that, this went straight in. Then I played one Puppet Plant because I was told, and I looked on my forum because this was my locals, my local regionals. A lot of people were talking about playing Samurai, so I sided one Puppet Plant as an out to the Samurai decks. So I never actually played the Samurai, but I ended up going in against the Prophecy player. I played round 1, so I guess drawing this and stealing a Priestess would have been nice. Double Maxi because Maxi is Maxi, and they would have been good if I drew them. One MST because the last MST is great, and I side out Storm against Mermail and put in the third MST because Storm is pretty much useless against them. So this was really, really good. Double deck dev. The only time I resolved a deck dev successfully against an opponent, he had no targets. I sided these in both my Mermail mirrors and my Gadget matchup, and I never saw them in one of the mirrors and in the Gadget matchup, and I only saw it once against Mermails, and he had no targets, and then he reborn the Catasteroid tributed and virused me back, which is always nice. So, virus me for -5. But oh well, shit happens. Then I played double Iron Wall, because I was going to cut these for Soul Takers, but I didn't find the Soul Takers in time, and they didn't win me a game, but I won the games regardless, but siding them in, they should have won me games, so I like the Iron Walls, they were really good. I ended up putting them against Prophecy because I thought it'd be a really smart decision to shut down their Fates, Priestesses and whatnot, but I never saw it. I still managed to win anyway, but it would have been really nice if I got those off. The double Shadow Mirror, I saw one of these against the Dark World player and it got dragged down, so I never actually resolved the Shadow Mirror. 2 breakthroughs, these went in against the Fire Fist player I ended up playing. I never actually saw them, but I mean, they were really good in testing, so I like to think they were good. And then Double Dust Tornado. I saw these against I sided them in against Mermail and Gadget, and I saw too much back row removal against the Gadget player, because I was paranoid of his Soul Drains, and I just saw so much back row removal I didn't manage to get a live Megalo. I didn't manage to get any live plays Game 3 against him. So, maybe siding the Dust Tornadoes in was a bit much. So to talk about my matchups, round 1 I ended up playing against Prophecy. That was a 2-0 win. It was basically a very straight game. I did a lot of anti-Prophecy testing just before the event, so it was a fairly easy match simply because I'd done so much testing and I knew how it was going to perform. Round 2 I ended up playing against my friend Nick, who was playing a Mermail deck of his own design, kind of halfway between Mono and Undying Mermail, and I won game 1 with a Moulin play. Game 2, he won with a Moulin push. And then game 3, I virused him turn 1. He had nothing in hand to virus, and then he reborn the Catastrophe and virused me, which put me on a horrible position. And I managed to play along for about 15 more turns. And I believe I lost out to, I think it was a Dark Hole or something to that nature. But it was something not like relatively sacky. I thought I was going to play out of it, but it happens. So I ended up losing that game. Round 4, I ended up playing against my friend Reese. So this is 2 people from my locals that I've now played at the regionals. Who was playing Fire Fist, and game 1 I won. Game 2 he absolutely demolished me with Fissure. Then game 3 he pushed me into a horrible corner. And I managed to top the Avarice and set the Lind, which ended up winning me the game. Round 4. Round 4, I actually ended up against a Dark World player from my locals who is notorious for beating me week in, week out, and I managed to stall in time with that Gachi play and win that game. I had no business winning that game after he'd virus dragged down Mind Crushed me, but there you go. That was the best thing ever. I think if he'd Mind Crushed my Dragoons, I wouldn't have been able to make the Dweller and I wouldn't have been able to win, but he Mind Crushed a dead Megalo out of my hand, so happy days. Well, I was under virus anyway, so I'm not sure really why he did that. But that was the win. The win's a win. And then round 5, I ended up playing against a Mermail player, who I managed to win game 1 after grinding out and top decking into a salvage to make Librarian Armory Arm and winning the game from there. And then we went straight into time, and he ended up winning the game in game 2 in time, and I ended up getting forced into a draw, which I really wasn't comfortable with, but hey, it happens. And then round 6, sadly, I ended up playing against my good friend Joe Pontari, who was playing Gadgets, and he ended up basically just absolutely mashing me. I believe I lost game 1 horribly because I didn't see a Megalo, and I just didn't see any ways to get into Megalo, so it was an uphill struggle the whole way through. Game 2 I was able to push through by generating lots of advantage off of Dularan. Again, I did not see a Megalo and I didn't resolve one. And then game 3, I saw a Megalo with no way to resolve it, and he just kind of went away with things, because I just didn't have any way to stop any of his plays. He had the MST to my Sphere, and that Sphere was basically going to try and line up a Pike play for me, but didn't manage to get it off. I swiftly lost the game from there, so that put me out of the tournament, put me in 20th. If I managed to win, I would have topped, but oh well. Such is Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm glad my friend Joe managed to get his invite, because that means he's going to be able to come to Euros with us. But yeah, otherwise, I think that's about all I wanted to talk about. I managed to get quite a few feature matches from the event, which are going to be uploaded following the publishing of this video. But yeah, that's about everything I wanted to talk about. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time with some more Yu-Gi-Oh! Related content. Peace out. Bye.